Early on this day of rest, as I came into adoration in my little chapel, I felt compelled to take up the prayer given at Fatima, complete with the posture indicated by the angel. You probably know it, the prayer to the Blessed Trinity, which one says 3 times in reparation and also recognizing the presence. And as I did so, this thought came to me, which I felt I had to share with you. This is the center of the universe. It is the greatest thing that we have, and we must care for it. Indeed, personally, I felt the Lord was saying, you must care for it all the time. In loving adoration and reparation, I ask nothing more. God has his rights. But it applies, in fact, to every Catholic throughout the world. Now, it's something to be thought about in this week of prayer for Christian unity, because although it is true that we have in baptism a common grace, the family feeling, homeward bound toward glory, yet there is a positive will of God. He meant it thus. And all grace, normally, potentially, virtually, instinctively, orientates towards this. The Lord meant the incarnation to continue. He has not left us. Now, as one looks at what has happened in the last 50 or 60 years, one sees that we are seeing the tip of the iceberg. People talk about different problems with regard to liturgy, the rite, but they oftentimes forget to see the underneath part, of which the rest is but the manifestation. And this is the underneath part. I picked it up just yesterday again. It was somebody close to Paul VI. It seems that he had interlocutions, Monsignor Ottavio Michelini, and he heard this from the Lord, it seems, in the years following the council. It contains a gem of teaching and from the Lord, indicating where the problem is. The crisis, la crisi. In translation it runs thus: crisis in faith is one and the same with lack of interior life. Without interior life, there is no capacity to act. Lack of interior life is lack of a life of grace. He who does not live can do nothing. Chi non vive nulla può fare. That explains all the rest. So start there. Concretely, down the line, we have everywhere abuses and sacrilege. We have complete absence of awareness of the sacred oftentimes. The dynamic has become, in many a place, purely human. Do you see how that's just the logical consequence of the other? Go to the other. The rest, and only then, can be adjusted. It applies also to our little monastery, the domestic church. We all live in some kind of home. That home we need to claim, we need to shield, we need to protect. Now, this which is happening in the sacramental realm is happening also in the public realm. God shoved aside, even made fun of. We have grown up. I think you probably have heard about what happened in the Golden Globe they had this votation, this voting for the most popular. It's the place in California where they have all these big Hollywood stars together, and they have a way of electing who is very popular on the scale. They didn't have to, but they did. Put God at the last minute on the list, just to make a point. So it started at the bottom of the list. God, creator of the universe, 0 votes. Oh. 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 It was put to me by a friend that it doesn't mean that God lights fires and blows them around, but it could mean that he withdraws at times his protection. His protection. You may have heard that somebody who used these, the blessed chalk of the Epiphany that we had here the other day, and claimed his house for Jesus Christ, Lord of the universe, King of kings and Lord of lords, not 0 votes. His house in the inferno of the blaze was completely spared and protected. By chance, of course. Now, closer to home, your home, do you realize that that same claiming of Christ over your house has concrete consequences? If you do that, and then politely invite in your greatest enemy, you are an idiot. And it happens more than you think. Protect your house with all kinds of sacramentals, say many prayers, and then say to old Nick, come here and reign. The house is yours. You are on the losing side, and he, cleverer than you, is getting a foothold. All you have to do is press a button. He's there, with all his filthy baggage. You can't have a Christian home which invites him to use foul language, blasphemy, especially at certain times of the day when you should be praying or eating together. The devil was obliged to admit that he hadn't got permission to enter the house where the rosary was prayed. I remember one time visiting some nuns in a convent that I had a ministry with, an enclosed community. And at the end of the conversation, the nun, I think was the organist of the community, said in Italian, I'll give you a fraternal embrace. I thought to myself, you'll have a job, sister, with your grill. It was still a heavy grill in which she was completely enclosed. And lo and behold, the whole of the wall opened up, and this apparition came through, gave me a squeeze of the kind that would reduce a marble statue to dust, and disappeared back behind Fort Knox forevermore. I thought, the logic of an Italian nun. But it's rather like that. You can have your grill and your enclosure, but Old Nick can be in your pocket and on your mantelpiece. I want to introduce a friend to you. His name is Kerberos. That in Greek was the name of the guardian of the underworld. Now he has a job to do. He lies in this posture at the front door. He has a job which is jolly useful in the drafty winter, but he also keeps an eye open. Who is allowed in? And sometimes he does the actual introductory words himself. A few words to see who's there. It can be anyone from the bishop to a large travelling family. They're all sent by divine providence. However, we must be careful who we come to allow and stay for long periods in our home. People sometimes have demons attached to them. You know that certain things lead to contamination. Drugs are often cursed. They sell better when they are. So it might need some deliverance prayers or more. And by the way, in this week of Christian unity, do you know that we have something common with our Pentecostal friends? They know what we know about Old Nick. And do you know that actually it happens that in severe cases they have to discreetly approach a Catholic exorcist. They know certain things quietly. So in this week of Christian unity, there's one thing I leave with you, my friends. Our real enemies are not our Christian brethren, but those who are full of demons and want us to have a share in the same. If you haven't got the best chalk, take it and claim your house for Jesus Christ. Christus mansionem benedicat.